and welcome to Daily News Simplified, the answer to what, why and how of newspaper reading. Today I am going to discuss Delhi edition dated 27th April 2018 of The Hindu. So let's begin. We will discuss this article that appears on page 7 and it reads World Bank Loan for Biopharma Mission. So this news says that the World Bank will provide a loan worth rupees 1600 crores for the National Biopharma Mission in order to develop new medicines and medical devices. So in this respect, we will try to understand some key points today about the National Biopharma Mission. And this topic forms a part of GS paper 3 in the syllabus. So the National Biopharma Mission was launched in June 2017 in order to give a boost to India's biopharma industry. Within this biopharma mission, the government also launched the Innovate in India program or I3, and this Innovate in India program is aimed at creating an enabling ecosystem to promote entrepreneurship and indigenous manufacturing in the biopharma sector. Also, the total approved cost of this mission was $250 million, out of which 50% of the funding is to be provided through World Bank. This mission is committed to make India a hub for design and development of affordable and effective pharmaceutical products. And thus, in the long term, it will benefit the Indian population because it is going to provide affordable solutions and products that are relevant to Indian health needs. Also, you should know that this mission will provide an integrated approach to support the entire product development value chain to accelerate research in the biopharma sector and thus create new products. Lastly, you should know that this National Biopharma Mission is being implemented by the Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council, and the concerned ministry for this mission is the Ministry of Science and Technology. So we have understood many key facts about the National Biopharma Mission today, that it was launched in June 2017 in order to promote India's biopharmaceutical industry. Under this, an Innovate in India program has also been launched, which is aimed at creation of enabling ecosystem to promote entrepreneurship and indigenous manufacturing in the biopharma sector. This National Biopharma Mission has been launched at a cost of $250 million, out of which 50% funding will be provided through World Bank. This mission aims to create affordable and effective pharma products which are relevant to the Indian health needs. Also, it will support the entire product development value chain to accelerate research in the biopharma sector. This mission is being implemented by the Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council, and the concerned ministry for this mission is the Ministry of Science and Technology. So since this was launched last year only and till now no question has been asked on this in the UPSC exam, therefore it is very important. With this, we will move on to the next article. Next, we will discuss this article which appears on page 9 and it reads Merging Associate Banks with the SBI. So this article talks about the merger of associate banks with SBI, and in this respect, in today's discussion, we will try to understand the benefits and challenges associated with bank mergers. Let us discuss the benefits first. The first benefit that can emerge from bank mergers is efficient operation. So bank mergers or consolidation of banks allow for trimming the operations of the banks and closing redundant branches, thus bringing efficiency into the operations of banks. The second benefit is increase in profitability. So bank mergers are expected to improve the operational synergies of banks and bring in high productivity and cost rationalization, which will lead to an improvement in profitability of the bank. Next, bank mergers help to create strong banks. It will create strong bank in the sense that more capital will be available in the merged bank for lending and investment. Also, a merged bank will have decreased institutional risk which will help in creation of a stronger bank. Next, bank mergers will help to ease pressures on the government. In what sense? In the sense that government has to provide capital to those banks which are facing capital crunch or which are facing high NPAs. So if a few banks are merged together, then it will reduce the pressure on the government to provide funds for recapitalization. The next benefit of bank mergers is higher credit rating for banks. Banks will have a higher credit rating after merger because mergers help to create stronger and large banks which have a higher overall profitability, and thus it will help them to get a higher credit rating from the credit rating agencies. And lastly, mergers will help in improving financial inclusion in the country. That is, a consolidated banking system will help in achieving a higher financial inclusion in the country, which is one of the key objectives of the government. So till now we have understood all the key benefits of bank mergers, which are efficiency in operation of banks, higher profitability, creation of stronger banks, easing the pressure on the government, higher credit ratings, and improvement in financial inclusion. However, certain challenges are also associated with bank mergers, and we will also discuss those challenges. The first key challenge associated with bank mergers is higher stressed assets for the merged bank. This is because if 2-3 banks that have a large proportion of stressed assets are combined, then the final stressed assets of the merged bank will also be very high, and which is not good for the efficiency of the banking system. The second challenge associated with bank mergers is integration issues. This means that consolidation of 2 or more banks will face challenge in the form of cultural and management integration, and this may reduce the overall efficiency of the merged bank. And lastly, there are various operational issues that are associated with bank mergers. Under this, factors like regional balance, geographical reach, financial burden, and human resource transition may be affected due to the mergers, and hence these operational issues create problems in the bank consolidation process. So the various challenges associated with bank mergers are an increase in stressed assets of the merged bank, integration issues of management, and operational issues associated with different banks. So we have discussed all the benefits as well as challenges that are associated with bank mergers, and you should remember all these points from your prelims exam point of view, as many questions are asked on the banking sector in your prelims exam. With this, we will move on to the next article. The next article that we will discuss appears on page 8, and it reads Anatomy of a Reset. Now this article is pertaining to the India-China relations. In the syllabus, this topic forms a part of GS paper 2 under the heading India and its neighborhood relations. Also in the past, in UPSC mains exam, a question has been asked which said, discuss the recent trends in India's relations with China. And in this respect, this article becomes very important. So this article says that the India-China relationship suffers from a competition-cooperation discord. Here, the author provides examples about this competition cooperation discord. For example, India and China have competition in NSG or Nuclear Suppliers Group Partnership, but they have cooperation in Shanghai Cooperation Group membership. Another example provided by the author is that India and China have competition pertaining to the Belt and Road Initiative, but they have cooperation in the climate change talks. So basically, the author in this article has highlighted the competition-cooperation relationship between India and China, and that they suffer a discord in this relationship. He has provided examples for this, such as India and China have competition in NSG membership but cooperation in Shanghai Cooperation Group membership. Also, they have competition in the Belt and Road Initiative, but they have cooperation in the climate change talks. Also, the author says that the recent Doklam crisis has shifted the tilt of India-China relationship from cooperation to competition. But now, the current focus of both these countries is to reset their ties towards cooperation. This is because moving towards cooperation will be beneficial for the interests of both India and China. And in this respect, the author has highlighted several problems if the India-China relationship is tilted towards competition. So we will discuss one by one what are the problems that are associated if India-China relationship is tilted towards competition. Firstly, the author says that prolonged competition of India with China will increase China's engagement with Pakistan in South Asia, and thus Pakistan's ability against India would rise in the South Asian region, which is not good for India's interests. Hence, in this case, prolonged competition of India with China is not beneficial for India. Secondly, if India has any competition with China, then US and Japan would be unwilling to support India directly in case of any land-based conflict against China. This is because both US and Japan are economically interdependent on China, and hence they would not support India in case of any competition against China. Thirdly, any competition with China increases security risks for India in countries like Nepal, Myanmar, and Maldives, and this is something that India cannot economically sustain. And lastly, any competition with China will not be good for India because India does not have strategic depth in East Asia as much as the strategic depth that China has in South Asia. So with this discussion, we have understood all the key problems that will be associated if India and China have a competitive relationship. These problems are, if India has a prolonged competition with China, then in that case China can increase its engagement with Pakistan in South Asia, and this may lead to an increase in Pakistan's influence, which may not be good for India. Secondly, US and Japan will not support India in any land-based conflict against China. This is because both US and Japan are interdependent on China, and hence they will not support India in case of any competition with China. Thirdly, a competitive relationship with China will increase security risks for India in countries like Nepal, Myanmar, and Maldives, and this is not economically sustainable for India. And lastly, a tilt towards competition with China is not good for India because India does not have strategic depth in East Asia as compared to the strategic depth that China has in South Asia. So looking at all these problems, the solution that author has suggested is that economic cooperation with China will ensure geopolitical stability for India in South Asia. Hence, India should move from competition towards cooperation with China. So all these points are important from your mains exam point of view if any question is asked pertaining to India-China relationship. With this, we will move on to the next article. Next, we will discuss this article that appears on page 1, and it reads, Government can seek rethink on Joseph's name, says CJI. So the government has returned the name of Justice K.M. Joseph and accepted the name of Senior Advocate Indu Malhotra for the appointment as a judge to the Supreme Court. However, questions have been raised by eminent jurists and senior lawyers for sending the name of Justice K.M. Joseph for reconsideration while accepting that of Senior Advocate Indu Malhotra. And the ground for reconsideration given by the government for this is the relative juniority of Justice Joseph among the other High Court Chief Justices. And in this respect, from this article, we will try to understand the process of appointment of judges in Supreme Court in India, and this topic forms a part of GS paper 2 in the UPSC syllabus. So the judges of Supreme Court in India are appointed by the President under Article 124(2) of the Constitution. The Chief Justice is appointed by the President after consultation with judges of Supreme Court and High Court as he deems necessary. Thirdly, the other judges of Supreme Court are appointed by the President after consultation with the Chief Justice and any other judges of Supreme Court and High Court as the President deems necessary. Now we have used this term consultation here. That is, in appointment of both Chief Justice and other judges of Supreme Court, they are done by the President after consultation. So, the Supreme Court has given different interpretations of this word consultation here. So, in the first judge's case in 1982, the Supreme Court held that consultation does not mean concurrence. That is, it is not binding and it only implies exchange of views. But in the second judge's case in 1993, the court reversed its earlier ruling and changed the meaning of the word consultation to concurrence. And this means that the advice that is given by the Chief Justice of India is binding on the President in matters of appointment of judges of the Supreme Court. Also, a third judge's case was there in 1998, and in this case, the Supreme Court said that the consultation process to be adopted by the Chief Justice of India should have consultation of plural judges. This means that the Chief Justice of India does not only constitute the consultation process, and it said that the Chief Justice of India should consult a collegium of 4 senior most judges of the Supreme Court, and even if 2 of the judges give an adverse opinion, then he should not send his recommendations to the government. However, it also said that once the collegium suggests a name, then the government can send it for reconsideration. Therefore, as per the prevailing memorandum of procedure, it is binding on the government to make appointment if this collegium reiterates its recommended name. So we have understood the entire process of the appointment of judges in Supreme Court. The judges in Supreme Court in India are appointed by the President under Article 124(2). The Chief Justice is appointed by the President after consultation with judges of Supreme Court and High Court as he deems necessary. The other judges are appointed by the President after consultation with the Chief Justice and other judges of Supreme Court and High Court as he deems necessary. Also, the Supreme Court has given different interpretations of this word consultation. In the first judge's case of 1982, the Supreme Court said that consultation does not mean concurrence. However, in the second judge's case in 1993, Supreme Court said that consultation implies concurrence. That is, the advice that is given by the Chief Justice of India is binding on the President in the matters of appointment of judges of the Supreme Court. Also, in the third judge's case in 1998, the Supreme Court said that the consultation process to be adopted by the Chief Justice of India requires consultation of plural judges. That is, the Chief Justice of India should consult a collegium of 4 senior most judges of Supreme Court, which should give the recommendations for the appointment. And even if 2 judges give an adverse opinion, then the Chief Justice should not send the recommendation to the government. Finally, as per the prevailing memorandum of procedure, it is binding on the government to make appointment if the collegium reiterates its recommended name. So I hope you have understood the entire process of appointment of judges in the Supreme Court, and it's very important from your UPSC prelims exam point of view. With this, we will move on to the next article. The next article that we will discuss appears on page 8 and it reads Saving Afghanistan. So this article says that the growing conflict between Russia and US and Iran and Saudi Arabia is destabilizing Afghanistan. This is because each side is creating proxies for themselves in Afghanistan, and this is leading to deepening of divisions in Afghanistan and destabilization of the current government of Afghanistan. And the impact of all this is that it has helped Al-Qaeda and Taliban to regroup and attain a stronghold in Afghanistan after 2015. Also, Pakistan's role in Afghanistan continues to remain dubious, and it is in continuous opposition to India's development assistance to Afghanistan. And as a result of all these factors, the development assistance to Afghanistan is being divided with different priorities. Hence, looking at all these above conditions, the author has concluded that the global and regional powers should ensure that complete elimination of Al-Qaeda and Taliban from Afghanistan And this should be the common target in Afghanistan for all these above countries. So with the help of this discussion, the author has talked about the point that the growing conflict between Russia and US and Iran and Saudi Arabia is causing destabilization in Afghanistan. This is because each side is creating proxies for themselves in Afghanistan, and this is leading to deepening divisions and destabilization of current government in Afghanistan. As a result, the impact of this is that Al-Qaeda and Taliban are able to regroup and attain a stronghold in Afghanistan since 2015. Also, Pakistan's role in Afghanistan has always remained very doubtful and always in opposition to India's development assistance to Afghanistan. And as a result, the author has concluded that all these global and regional powers should ensure elimination of Al-Qaeda and Taliban in Afghanistan, and this should be the common target for all these countries. This topic forms a part of international relations in the UPSC syllabus, and this article should be read from the mains exam point of view. With this, we come to an end to today's newspaper discussion. Now let's move on to question for the day.